All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today is Monday, and let's get this thing started, shall we? If you're new to the stream, welcome. So here's what I do each time I stream during the market open, which, I'm a little bit behind. Should have started like 10 minutes ago. I apologize for that, but it's always a pain to get this thing started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to conduct analysis because the idea here is to use the Trade Scanner Pro to look for trades in the Nasdaq Micro Futures. Now, I'm using a Tradeovate account with Apex, as you can see here. I'm slightly in the profit. Now, this is coming back from a minus. I was minus whatever. I was originally minus $1,000. Then I was up 1,000. And I gave that back, and I'm trying to make it back. Right? I'm trying to reach the $3,000 objective. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but that's the general idea. And I'm looking for trades on the Nasdaq futures on a 30-second time frame or a 1-minute time frame to see if I can complete that objective in a sustainable way. Now, the way I do that is I first conduct analysis, and then I look for confirmations based on my analysis to take trades. That's how you use the Trade Scanner Pro, because it's a confirmation tool, not a forecasting tool. Now, so a couple of things. We have a holiday week this week. That's going to affect a lot of things. So on Friday is the 4th. So that's a very big holiday here in the US. And that means probably today and tomorrow will be the busier days in terms of volume. But once we get to Wednesday, you can forget this. This game is going to be completely a waste of time because people are going to go away. People want to go away early. No one wants to be sitting in front of their computer or whatever, looking at the markets going into such a holiday. Everyone's interested in the holiday. So volume is going to taper off. We're probably going to see slower uh, markets, more like a slow grind, like we saw on Friday. Slow grinds are the worst. All right. Just letting you know, for this type of style, for my style, slow grinds are the absolute worst. And we'll talk about that. So anyway, that's the story, which means I'm not going to be streaming on Friday. In fact, I'm probably going to take Friday off for the remainder of the summer. There's no point in me streaming on Friday. No one watches anyway. No one's watching now. So there's no point in me doing that. I have much better things to do with my time than to talk to a wall. So yeah, so I'm probably not going to be streaming on Friday anymore, and I'm going to be making adjustments to my schedule because again, I need to focus my time on developing a basically a backlog on my channel that people will watch. Right? No one's going to watch a 1 hour stream 3 months after the fact. No one's going to watch that. So I need to make tutorial type videos or whatever that are shorter, that I can build a backlog if I plan to build this channel at all. Doing what I'm doing right now is not conducive to developing a channel. So I'm going to have to change my schedule up a bit, and that's what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to stream on Mondays as I normally do, especially the 3 o'clock stream. That's been my regular time slot, and that's my analysis stream. So that will continue. But these streams, I'm going to change my schedule because again, I need to use my time in a more optimal way. Now, what that also means is I'm going to change because this method, I've been now at this for basically what, 3 months, and I've paid 3 subscriptions on this eval account. So in order to really get somewhere with this account, I'm going to have to increase my size. So I'm going to demonstrate that on these streams now and see if that I'm going to have to basically employ a less sustainable method in order to beat the eval, right? If we're going to do something like that. And if I'm going to be reducing my streaming time, then I'm going to have no choice but to do that. Otherwise, I'll be streaming forever trying to reach this $3,000 goal in the sustainable way. A sustainable way is good for when you have a payout account and you can take payouts from it. Then you want to do that in a sustainable way. But beating an eval requires its own strategy. And the emphasis on that strategy is really about the sizing. So I'll show you that here. All right. Anyway, so right now what I have up here is Bitcoin. I just want to mention this real quick because I wrote my analysis yesterday. I'll be talking more about this on my stream in the afternoon as well. But we have this active trend line this thing has been consolidating. I suspect this is a wave 4, but this was a pin bar yesterday. The previous candle was a pin bar, but obviously it never closed as a pin bar. This arrow that I drew was pointing to a pin bar. But this price action here, this red candle today, if we close anything like that, it's essentially the same pattern, right? If I look at this on like a 2-day time frame instead of a 1-day time frame, you'll see a pin bar. So that's bearish. It's still bearish, right? And this pullback over the coming week is very possible. In fact, the trade scanner bot called like 10 shorts across all these altcoins. So there's something going on here, and we're at the top of the range anyway on Bitcoin. So that analysis that I had done yesterday is still in play, in my opinion. We'll talk more about that at 3 o'clock. Let me know if you have questions about that. So we're going to switch this over now. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these moving averages because we don't need them. They were placed there as just a filter. I had a filter example a while back that probably no one watched. All right, so we're changing to MNQ1, right? And we're going to change MNQ1. That's Nasdaq Micro Futures, because that's what we're looking at here. This is the daily time frame. So when I conduct analysis using the Trade Scanner Pro, I show this, I demonstrate this every single week, every time I stream. It's the same 2 steps. So first, I go to the daily time frame. You can apply this to any market or whatever you trade, all right? And this is particular to looking for day trades, because I know in advance that I'm looking at 30-second and 1-minute time frames. So I'm looking for information that's going to be relevant to those time frames. So first thing I'm doing here is, as you know, I'm pulling out levels. That's the first thing I want to see. So I use the daily time frame, and I want to see yesterday's and today's. Those are the only candles I'm interested in, nothing else. So here's, well, Friday, not yesterday, Friday. Friday's low is over here, right? So I want to put a line there. Today's low, the overnight low, is over here. All right, so I want to put a line there too. Then I want to look at Friday's high. I want to make sure I note that. I put a line, and I put today's high, which is the overnight high. All right, so those are my support and resistance levels for my day trades. That's it. That step is done. Now I want to go to an hourly chart. You could use other time frames for this. It's just going to depend on the time frame that you plan to take action on. But for my 30-second and 1-minute time frame, I like to look at the hourly chart to get a sense of momentum. So I'm looking at price structure first. I see higher lows and higher highs generally. That's generally bullish. All right. But right now, we have this bearish situation developing. I see 2 big red candles. This is an engulfing candle over here. This one followed through. We're testing the support, yesterday's high. We're testing that. I don't see any bouncing happening right away. So I'm going to judge this momentum as generally bearish. Okay, I'm going to turn the Trade Scanner Pro on this chart. This Trade Scanner Pro, as you can see here, the trend status says bullish. Well, because it's looking at the bigger move. It's looking at the broader structure. So I need to keep that in mind in case we reach like one of these lower support levels. That's going to be important there, because if the trend remains to be bullish, those may be potential locations for reversals. And for advanced traders, you can go into counter trend mode at such locations. But I don't want to confuse people, so we're not going to talk a lot about counter trend mode. The easier thing to do is to stay in trend mode and wait until your smaller picture aligns with your bigger picture in terms of the trend status. That's the easiest thing to do. So I know my levels. I have a general sense of momentum. I'm going with bearish because why? This is bearish. That's why. We broke this little minor support. Although the bigger picture is bullish, we have a pullback that's taking place. I'm going to go with the bearish because this is pretty strong momentum. And I know that when I look at my 30-second chart, it's going to look pretty bearish. All right, let's take a look. So here's my 30-second chart. 30-second chart. Well, it's generally bearish, right? We see a lower high over here. We see a lower low. But actually, look, it's changed a bit. That's a higher low right there. All right, so that's something to keep in mind. But I'm going to, since this general momentum is bearish, I'm going to try to work on the bearish side. Now, when you get your Trade Scanner Pro, if you sign up for a free trial, you have to make sure you turn these things on right here. All right, trailing stop, show previous trades, and heads up. Otherwise, you'll be missing important information. We're getting a heads up right now, which means a signal is likely to appear. Well, if it sticks, a signal is likely to appear in the next 3 to 5 candles. In this case, it's looking for a short signal because the trend is bearish on this time frame, as you can see here, right? When you're using a 30-second time frame, you have to pay very close attention to this because this changes a lot. You have to pay close attention to that because that determines what the Trade Scanner Pro is looking for as far as longs or shorts, right? What it's looking to confirm. You want it, I'm changing this to the 1 minute. You want to confirm there's a signal. All right, so I'm interested in shorts. So here's what we're going to do. As you know, I'm not jumping in right away, right? We're going to use the filter. And the filter that you guys know about is this signal that appeared, the trade order suggestions. I use that as my heads up. So I don't jump in, right? What I want to see now is do we get a retest somewhere inside this risk gap? Can we get a retest? If we can get a retest somewhere inside here, that'll give me a better entry to take a trade right now. Or maybe we go back below this blue line like we're doing right now. Okay, maybe I'll take that. Let's see. It depends on how that candle closes. Right, these are 30-second candles, so they can be very erratic. See what I mean? 1 minute is red, now it's green again. All right, so no trade. Okay, no problem. Really pays to wait for that candle to close. Okay, good. No trade. Good thing I'm not in that. So what I want to see here is some kind of bearish reversal in this area. That will prompt me to take the trade. So as you can see, I have not jumped in just because a trade signal appears. You use this as a heads up. That's the better way to use this in this environment because there's a lot of fake outs. This market is not as fast as it was just a couple of months ago. So you have to adjust to that, right? And this week it's probably going to get slower. All right, we got another heads up in there. So far, I'm not seeing any type of reversal that I want to see. Okay, I want to see, okay, we got something there with the pin bar. All right, but this candle needs to close red. If it goes to the stop, it closes out the whole idea and I'm not in it. So cool. See, look, it's going to the stop. It almost went there. All right, no problem. I'm not in the trade. Now, if this thing turns red, see like that, and it gives me like a nice red candle, I'll take it. But if it closes green, I'll wait for the next candle. All right, we got 2 pin bars in here. All right, so if we break below this one here, I'll take one contract. And the idea will be if we break below the blue line again, I'll add to it. But I'm not going to add just one. I'm going to add like 2 or 3 because like I said before, I want to increase the sizing in this account. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anywhere with it. Right? And now it's okay. I'm willing to take more risk. I don't care if I blow the account. Okay, here we go. So we're going to finish there red. All right, I'm taking 1 short. All right, so as you can see, the order popped up on my screen there. I'm short 1. This may be a bad idea. Oh, it looks like it's going to go to the stop. All right, no problem. I'm out. I just got out. So I got in, I got out. I only had 1 contract. Now, how much was that? Let's see. That wasn't much because I got a good price. All right, minus $27. Okay, no problem. All right, now if I get it, I got to wait for another signal now. All right, you got to respect the stops. Now, this is very noisy or whatever. Okay, no problem. That's why I don't go all in because of that type of situation, right? Now, we're going into, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I was going to say we're going into the 10 o'clock candle. So that explains some of that erratic movement. 10 o'clock, usually you see that. 10 o'clock also establishes the opening range. So, okay, we have another signal there. See that? Okay, cool. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to take anything. I'm going to wait until if I could see some sort of reversal, some sort of bearish reversal pattern inside of this area, or we just go back below that blue line. Okay, the entry line. See, look, this market is generating signals and it's just going the wrong way. See what I mean? How it's just like it generates the short, and then the first thing it does is goes the wrong way. That's why you don't jump into these randomly. You just don't jump in. Even though it's aligning with my general idea, I want to work on the bearish side, it's just not cooperating. Maybe it's a conflicted market, and maybe maybe it's in the process of changing. All right, it could be changing its trend. So I'll try one more if I get the appropriate signal from the candles. All right, we're going back below. I'm going to try one here. All right, you can see the order popped up behind me. I got one. Now, here's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to prepare to sell two more. I'm going to add to this if we can go below this area right here. I'll draw a little line there. Well, can I draw a line there? Yeah. So this area right here, that line right there, I'll add to it if we can break below that. All right. So I'm trying to add to something that's going my way. Also, my 1 minute, okay, my 1 minute seems, there's no signal on the 1 minute, but the trend is bearish on the 1 minute. So I only have one contract on. If I get stopped out on this trade, again, it'll be relatively small. And that's the whole thing. If I'm going to lose money, I want to lose money on small size. I don't want to be aggressively putting on more and more, and then I get stopped out on a big position because, that's how you minimize the loss. All right, I like that pin bar. Now let's see if we can get below this area right here. I'll short two more. Now again, I'm getting more aggressive with the size because I need to show progress on this account. And if I lose, well, I lose, right? But the thing is, I'm not going to keep this account open and keep paying subscriptions on it. So, it's just because, especially since I don't plan to stream on Fridays anymore, it's going to be less time because I don't trade this account unless I'm on the stream. All right, let's see how this trade plays out. I may add to this. We'll see. Now, so another thing I want to mention, well, let's see how this trade plays out. For those of you that are not familiar, there are other types of prop trade accounts, right? I'm using Apex. This is an evaluation. So I'm paying for a 50K account. It's like $33 a month or something I'm paying for it. I'm 3 months in basically. So I'm in $90 basically, or maybe about $100 on this account that I've paid for this evaluation. If I beat the evaluation, then I have to pay a setup fee, right? And then I'm in the payout phase. Then I can actually start getting payouts. The setup fee is like $140. So at that point, I'd be basically like $240 in, something like that, if I'm using this account. If I beat the account, right? And you need to beat these accounts in a timely way. Now I'm mentioning this, okay, we're trying to break this little minor support. If we could do it, I'm going to add. If we can't do it, I'm not going to add. Now there's other type of prop firm accounts, and they are the straight to payout, right? Where there's no evaluation. There's a few prop firms that specialize in that, where basically you're paying for an account, and if you make money in that account, you can request a payout. Now, it sounds great, but the thing is, those accounts are way more expensive, right? Like I said, I'm paying $30 a month for there we go. All right, I'm going to short two more. As you can see the order popped up on my screen there. All right, now I have 3. Now let's see if this thing makes progress. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to get out of these things quickly because now I'm going to be losing some more significant money. All right, now, so to skip the evaluation, is the typical price for something like that, like on a 50K account, is $400. But that's not a monthly fee. That's a one-time fee. You're paying $400, and if you make money, you can request a payout. Now, of course, they have limitations on what you can request because otherwise, people who have some money to throw around, you open up an account for $400, you take a gigantic position, you make 10K, 20K, you request a payout, and they're out a ton of money. Oh, look at that. All right. Let me see here. I'm going to switch this to one contract because I want to start buying them back. Man, why can't it? That was a nice little pop there. I guess they're not going to let me get away with that one. Man, it touched that level. You see how harshly it rejected that level, that blue line? That's the overnight low that I had drawn on my chart. That's why you put those levels in there. They're relevant. Look at that. It touched it and rejected hard. Not good. All right. I'm going to have to switch back to 3 contracts because I'm going to have to blow this out. Right? The fact that it made this move here and has not continued is not good. But let's give this thing a chance. So I'm prepared to blow it out. Now, and so I was saying with these straight to payout accounts, their 400 typical price is like 400. It depends on the size of the account. Obviously, if you're getting a larger account, it's going to be more than that. But the advantage to doing that, again, is you can request payouts after certain thresholds are met. And each broker, each prop firm has its own threshold. Like, for example, when you reach $1,000 profit, you can request a payout. If you reach $2,000, you can request a payout, that kind of thing. But they keep these caps on it so that you can't go all in, generate a big P&L, and then try to take that money out, because they'll never make money that way, right? So that only makes sense is what if you have a strategy that works. Oh man, this thing not making me look good today. Excuse me. Shouldn't be. This is not the right behavior. Okay, we got a higher low over here. I may have to blow this out. Not the right behavior. Let's give it a chance here. I may blow it out early. Or maybe I'll start doing, I'll start blowing one out. I'll start getting out one at a time. Let's see, give it a chance. So like I was saying, it makes sense only when you have a system that's basically proven in some way. Maybe you beat an eval with it before. Maybe it's been back testing really well. Back testing is tricky, but at least you can justify something with that. The thing with back testing is if your strategy works well now, it's likely not to work well soon, because the strategies become obsolete. When they're very mechanical like that, they become obsolete. There's no way around that. That's why people that, algo traders, for example, will tell you they have to constantly be testing new strategies, because they have to constantly put new strategies into rotation, because their current strategy gets old. Why does it get old? Because basically other people find out about it somehow. Maybe they find it on their own or whatever, and then that advantage that existed, the window of opportunity closes, right? It just gets arbed out of the market, and you have to come up with another strategy. Maybe it's some other environment that strategy will become valuable again, but all the strategies go through that cycle when you have a purely mechanical strategy. Anyway, my point is, if you're going to pay $400 to skip the evaluation, you want something that's proven to get payouts, right? So that's why for a beginner, it's not appropriate, in my opinion. That straight to skip the eval is for an experienced trader that knows that they have some sort of sustainable strategy. Like this strategy that I'm doing here, this would be more appropriate for something like this, because I've generated profit with this, right? I gave it back, but it's still like this. I've generated profit. If I was on this account every day, the P&L would probably be better than it is. Okay. Of course I could say that after the fact, but I've been using this strategy for a while, and it's not purely mechanical. So for something like this, it would make more sense, because this is more of a sustainable strategy. That's the idea, rather than an eval beating strategy. Eval beating strategy, you have to go big, and you have to go big early. And, as soon as you buy the eval, for example, before your first trade, you have to go big. And there are ways to do that in a more reasonable manner. And of course, you have to have a system that you can rely on. But you can't waste a lot of time in the eval account. Like, you shouldn't be on the eval account for 3 months, a week maybe. And a lot of these prop firms, like Apex, for example. All right, I'm gonna have to get out of this. This does not look good. All right, getting out. I'm prepared to get out. It's most likely going to touch the stop. It shouldn't be up here. It should not be up here. This market's not weak. Okay. So I tried 2 shorts. The second one I put on more, and this thing completely changed on me. All right, no problem. This is not a weak market, because if this was weak, we wouldn't be seeing this. All right, I'm out. I'm out. Get me out. Okay, I'm out. So this is not a weak market. All right, let's see how bad this is. Minus 144. That's not horrible. It's worse than minus 27. But all right, I'm not going to continue. This is not weak. Notice we rejected that support. Okay, notice that line that I drew in advance. I mean, it rejected hard. And look at this. So we're seeing higher lows. This is not a weak market. It changed. So, all right, I chose the wrong side. Am I going to switch now and start buying this thing? Well, not now. In fact, this thing hasn't changed trend yet. See, the trend here is still bearish. I'm not in counter trend mode. Oh, it just changed. As I pointed to it, it changed. See that? So now it's looking for longs. All right, no problem. So I was going to say, just wait for that thing to change. And if you want to look for longs, let it change. And now let it start generating long signals. I took both of these shorts and they both stopped out. So that's going to happen. No problem. But I'm not going to keep pushing it. So like I said, right, and look, it's trying to give a short signal there. But if the trend changed in the middle of it, like the trend changed, this heads up doesn't mean anything because now it's not looking for shorts anymore. It's looking for longs. Now, because this thing just changed, the trend just changed, this thing is going to pull back a little bit and this is going to change back to short. Just you'll see. So all right, we got like this mixed market situation. The 1 minute, though, if you notice, the 1 minute has never changed. The 1 minute is still bearish. And it's giving us a heads up. See that? So we may get a signal there. That's going to be a more stable signal. Maybe I'll take that short. We'll see. And I'll try the same process. We'll see. I may try the same process all over again. I need to be more aggressive with this account. Okay? Because, again, I need to get somewhere with this or close the account because I'm not going to keep paying for a monthly subscription, especially since I don't use this account doesn't generate anything for me. And not only that, but no one watches and no one signs up for the Trade Scanner Pro. So really, there's really very little benefit for me to do this. Okay, I'm helping out everyone else and I provide value, but I get, it's just not. There are other things I could be doing with my time that would be more beneficial. All right, so let's see if we get the setup over here. I mean, look, I'm a half hour into this. Not one person saying hello to me on the chat. So let's see what we get over here. Yeah, so like I said, you can go straight to a payout account, pay them more money, but if you're a beginner and you're still testing out your strategy or you're not sure, then it's not worth the $400. Now, again, I'm not an affiliate for anyone, so I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but there are plenty of companies out there that I noticed and other people are talking about that do it that way. I think for the beginner, the standard evaluation type of prop firm makes more sense because you can practice, it's cheaper, and you can practice with size, with confidence. And if you get somewhere with it, there's potential payout, right? Yes, you have to jump through more hoops. It may take you some more time, but it's going to be a lot less expensive. Now, either way, look, whether you pay $400 one time or you pay for 10 $40 evaluations, right? I mean, you're still going to have to put money into this. The idea of just, I'm going to start an eval and I'm going to beat it on my first time is very unlikely. Randomly, you can do it, but it takes a long time, okay? There's our signal. See it? All right. So again, I'm going to use the filter. I'm not going to jump into this. I want to see some type of retracement like this. See what I mean with the green candle? That's why you don't jump in. See, and if the problem with the Trade Scanner Pro is it's not intuitive. So people that just see this, they just see random signals, they jump into it. You're going to run into all kinds of problems, especially in this environment. This is a very lousy environment for momentum. And this tool is a momentum-based tool. So I'm going to see price go back inside of this zone and then give me a short signal. That's what I want to see. Some sort of short reversal with the candles. The candles can confirm the signal. So think of these trade suggestions, think of these order suggestions as your heads up. And then the confirmation comes from the candle. Now keep in mind, doing it this way, I may miss, like this may just go straight to the profit objective and I'm going to miss it. That's a possibility that I have to be okay with. Okay. Or another thing I can do is I could, in these situations, I can open up one, right? And stay in that one. And then any retest or whatever, then I can add. That's another possibility if I want to be more aggressive. So I'm not in it right now. I'm not going to do anything right now. But any retest of this blue line, I will consider at least starting out with one micro lot. Right? That's why you can't chase these things. See what I mean? We got a pin bar developing here. Can't chase these things. This is still a higher low. It's still a higher low, but understand that this structure right here, this structure could just be like one of those bear flag structures, right? Where I can draw two parallel lines. Once it breaks that support line, this thing breaks. And the market started out sort of on the weak side. So there may be some weakness here. We'll see. So right now I'm looking for a retest of the blue line. See if I get that. Maybe not. And that's all I can do. I'm not going to chase it. But again, it all depends on how aggressive or conservative you are. So like I said, a more aggressive take would be you short one on the signal, right? That's more aggressive instead of waiting. Waiting is more conservative. Short one and then add on any retest opportunity. That's a more aggressive way to go about it. The more conservative way is doing what I'm doing right now, waiting, not taking anything, and waiting for the retest. Got a pin bar right here, bullish pin bar. See if it closes like that. Now the 1 minute, of course, is going to be slower. I got that same look. I got the pin bar in the 30-second as well. Remember, the 1 minute is just two 30-second candles combined. All right. So let me know if you have questions. So, and going back to the prop firms that skip the eval, if you think about it another way, it's good to think about these things. If you're putting in, let's just assume a $400 cost, they're giving you, for a 50K account, you're getting a $2,500 loss limit usually, right? So that means for 400 real dollars, they're giving you a $2,500 stop out or loss. What does that mean? Why is that attractive? Well, here's how you have to think about it. If you wanted to open up a real account, right? Forget the prop firm. You want to open up a real account to trade a micro lot on the Nasdaq futures at standard margin rates, like with Interactive Brokers, for example, you need at least $3,000 to trade one micro lot. And you cannot trade more than that because you don't have the margin. You need $3,000, a minimum, to trade a micro lot. Okay, if this closes red, I'm going to take it. Oh, I don't even think I'm going to get that opportunity. I'm going to try one here. All right, I got to switch this to one contract. It just broke that green candle. I'll take one. That's not the best price, but I'm going to take. Oh man, I just pressed the wrong button. I got 31 contracts. That's not good. All right, I need to start getting out of that. Okay, hold on. So let me do 10 at a time. 31 contracts is 3 mini lots. That's a big position, by the way. All right, so man, I'll make a lot of money on this if this works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to blow the account. That was a mistake, by the way. All right, I'm going to start getting out of some here. I'm going to take 10 off right there. 31 micro lots. It's a good thing it's not real. Oh, this is a big trade, man. Watch, wait until you see the P&L on this. I'm going to take 10 off. If we go to that profit objective, I'll take 10 more off. That's size. 31 micros, three mini lots is mini lots. That's size. Okay, that's big. And I'll give you an explanation about that in a moment. I just got to concentrate on this here. Okay. All right. Almost the profit objective. Can we do it? Keep it going. I'll take 10 more off if we get there. And I'll still have 10. Actually, a little bit more than 10. All right, I'm going to take another one off. Screw it. 10 more off. All right. So now I should have 11 micro lots left. So I'll take 5 off. Let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, I'm up $600. Yeah. All right. So let's see how this one closes. It's a good thing this trade went in my favor, but I'm gonna talk about this here in a moment. This was an honest mistake because I would not put on. I mean, aggressive is one thing, but not 31 micro lots. Okay, or 3 mini lots. All right, I think I'm going to blow off some here. Let's see how this candle closes. But if this thing went the wrong way, I'd be minus $1,000 in a blink of an eye. Okay, now trust me, I've managed this kind of size before, and so with the Nasdaq, and I know what happens when it goes the wrong way. This just happened to go my way. But this technique, starting out small and then putting on a big position when it's going your way, that's how you beat the eval. That's really it. You have a strategy and then you start out small, it goes your way, you go big, and you hope it does this, right? You hope it goes your way. That's how you do it with an eval. And again, I demonstrated that here by mistake. Let's see if we're not getting a red candle. All right, I'm going to take 5 more off. All right, so I only have 6 on now, 6 micros. Okay, and I'll blow, so can I see that on here? I guess I have to open this up. Yeah, see, I'm short 6. You can see it over here on the order book. All right. So I went from 31 micro lots to 6. I got rid of that size pretty quickly. Now 6 is still bigger than what I usually manage, but on these streams, hey, but at least you get to see some size, right? So what I'll do here is I'm going to put on 3. I'm going to prepare to remove. I'm going to prepare to sell or cover, buy back 3. That'll reduce my position again by half. And let's see if I can get the move to the profit objective. My trailing stop is now in play. You can see that here. Now, if this market cooperates, this trade will be huge. But if the market doesn't cooperate, then I'm going to give back a lot of profit here. But that's why I closed a big portion of the position. Where am I at? So I'm up 450. So I went from minus $127 to up basically 400. I'm still in the position. This position may be, a $500 or $600 winner. And do you see the P&L swing? How wild that was? It's because of the size. And it just so happened to have gone my way. If this thing spiked against me with 31 micro lots or 3.1 mini lots, I would have blown the account in minutes. Okay? So it's important to understand. Now, so what I was saying before I made this error, what I was saying was with the straight to payout, the example that I was bringing up was if you were going to open an account, right? Like I was saying with a real broker, Interactive Brokers, the margin requirements are ridiculous. You can't afford to trade anything. You're not going to get anywhere with that because you need to at least trade at least 2 micro lots, at least, because you need to be able to ride winners and stuff like that, right? So you need at least $6,000 to be able to do something like that. A mini lot, forget it. You need $30,000 for one mini lot. So for this trade that I just had on right now, that the margin requirement would be $90,000 for this position that I just had on. 3 mini lots is a $90,000 margin requirement. I was able to put that position on here essentially with a $2,500 account. That's the advantage to using a prop firm. Now bringing back the $400 payment. So if I spent $400 to go straight to payout, I would have this type of flexibility with only $400. Not $3,000, not $6,000, not $90,000, only $400. That's the value proposition. That's why it's worthwhile. Of course, they have rules and they try to make things hard for you. Yes, that's why you have to be good. That's why you have to be good. It's not going to work for a beginner. Okay, a beginner has a long way to go. And what makes it hard for a beginner is not the technical aspect. You could learn the technical aspect pretty quickly. Learning charts, learning a system, that's not really that hard. You can learn that in a few months if you're doing it every day, if you're doing it full time. What's hard is the psychology, the emotional baggage that you bring along. Because, it looks easy when you win. You're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah. When you lose, you don't realize how that affects you, especially when it's real money. And also, you bring a lot of bias to the table that you may not realize. You may react to candles a certain way. You may react to things that you see a certain way. And you have to recognize those things. So that's also, you may have some preconceived notions about the market that are inaccurate or not true. You may think markets are driven by news and you're going to sit there scouring news. Meanwhile, the market, when the news comes out, the market has made its move on the news. Sometimes you may get follow through from it, but a lot of times you get these knee-jerk reactions and you don't make money over time trying to trade news, unless of course you have the news before everyone else. So these preconceived notions can really mess you up, and it takes time. And then what happens is you start jumping from strategy to strategy because you think your strategy is flawed. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's the way you're employing the strategy. Maybe it's just the psychological decisions you're making, and how you're managing your losses. This thing sucks, man. Come on. This thing just does not, it just won't let me have a nice trade. Look at this. Lower high. Then it's like, nope, not going any lower. Sorry. Can't make you look good, bro. Got to turn around and be bullish. Let's see, how much money have I given back? Not too much. I think I'm going to get out and take my money because this sucks. I mean, so I've given back, what, like $200? I'm giving back money here. All right, I'm going to get out of this thing. Screw this. So let me put on 6 lots before I give back the whole thing. I mean, theoretically, I should be waiting for that trailing stop, but this is not, that kind of move right there is not characteristic of a weak market. We should have went to the profit objective at least. So that's why, again, as you saw right away, I started taking size off. Right? I had a position that was too big and it was going my way a bit. The first thing I start doing, taking size off right away, because I know that this nonsense, I know how the Nasdaq works, and I know it's a lot of noise. So when you have a profit, take it. The way this thing works, the way this thing moves, just take it. Take something. Especially if your size is too big, just take it. So I took some off. I tried to let some ride. It's not working. Okay, but I reduced the position. I took what, 2/3 of the position off? More than that. Right? I had 31 micro lots. I only have 6 on. So I took like, what was that? 4/5 of the position. I'm not good with fractions. But I took the majority of the position off. So I guess you could say I took over 60% of the position off. And I'm carrying like 40% of it, something like that. And I'm trying to give it a chance. The trailing stop is keeping me in it. But if it goes to the trailing stop, I'm like losing money. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. When you day trade, trying to capture big moves is usually not a productive way to go about it. There are some days like on Friday when you have those slow grinds and it just goes one way the whole day. And on those days, that may be worth trying, giving it a try if you're going to play that game. But generally, it's not a good idea. And I'm going to talk more about slow grinds here in a moment. But when you have a slow grind, the problem with the slow grind, if you're a moron and you're ignorant, slow grinds are great because you just buy it and it just works. We got a signal on the 30-second. Doesn't really mean anything, but it's nice to see that it's a signal going my way. So if you're a moron and you just buy and hold, yeah, this is easy, right? And it just goes your way the whole day and it never pulls back. But if you have some experience, this is where the slow grind is a problem because you know that it never pulls back. Since it never pulls back, at any moment it can pull back and it could pull back significantly. So it feels like you're buying the top every time, right? Or selling the bottom every time. Usually slow grinds, by the way, occur in bullish mode, like they're bullish configurations. They're usually not bearish because when people sell and they sell off, it's usually not slow. People are usually in a hurry to get out. Whereas slow grind, people are usually not in a hurry to buy. So slow grinds typically are bullish, right? And you never know when that top is going to be put in place. You just never know. And if you sit there and the worst thing you could do is start fighting it and be like, it's too high. And you start shorting, like the first short signal that shows up, the first one, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm shorting this thing. And then it just breaks above it. And then you get stuck in a position and you go, okay, it can't go any higher than this. I'm going to short more. And then you short more and it keeps going higher and higher. And eventually you get squeezed out of it. And usually you blow your account. I've blown accounts doing that. So you cannot have opinions, right? You have a slow grind, you recognize it. And usually the best thing to do is either you try to play and you play small. And if it goes the wrong way, you get out. I'm like, I tried, right? Maybe add to it if it continues your way, recognizing that it's possibly a slow grind. But again, at any moment, you're flipping a coin. At any moment, that top can show up. Or the easiest thing to do, walk away. These days, that's what I do. I just walk away because I'm not going to fight it. It's not worth messing around for like a couple of dollars, just wasting time, just trying to just walk away. It's not like I don't have other things to do. So, anyway, man, you guys missing out today. All my regulars missing out on a very sizable move, a sizable trade. I'm still in this thing with 6 micro lots. But you see what size does? I mean, I've been working this account for 3 months, and my biggest win was usually $200 around there. All right, right now this thing is up 350. And I was minus 127, remember? Minus 127 because and that was on 1 micro lot each. Or no, then I put on 3. I had 3. So 3 micro lots max, minus 127. I put on a position, 31 micro lots, goes my way. I'm up $500 in a blink of an eye, right? And then this thing goes against me. I mean, I was never in the red, even on this move. And now it's trying to fight back here a bit. So I'm trying to give it a chance. Anyone with me? Anyone watching? Anyone want to say hello? Or I've been talking to a wall the entire time. So now you know why. Like I'm gonna like phase out these streams because come on, this is ridiculous, man. Now I realize we're going into a holiday and today's Monday and this is an inconvenient time for people. That's why I got to figure other things out. Because I'm showing some value. What I just showed here was a very valuable lesson as far as sizing. Even though it was a mistake, I still managed the mistake optimally, by getting out of most of it. And now I have some on, I have a comfortable position, and now I'm just trying to let the market do its thing. Right? So very valuable lesson there. And, is anyone benefiting from it? I don't think so. So let's see how, what time is it? Oh, it's after 10:30. Oh, man. All right. I'm gonna get out of another half here. Put on three contracts. All right, I'm getting out not because the market's telling me. Well, I haven't done it yet, but because I don't have time to sit here all day with this. Now, interestingly enough, the signal on my 30-second has been showing some follow through. And look at how this played out too. The signal generated, it tried to go against a bit, and then it gave you a bearish pin bar on the blue line. See that? Like, this is ideal. This is ideal right here. Okay? You're only going to learn that from watching these streams. You're not going to learn that by using the Trade Scanner Pro on your own. It's not an intuitive tool. I do plan to make some training, like some training videos on it. I have one partially done, like a basic setup, but I'm going to make a series because I'm going to have more time because I'm not going to do these streams. I'm going to make like a series of training videos to explain these concepts, like using the filtering method, like the analysis components that I do in the beginning, talking about the conflicting market situation, when to walk away, all those things. All right, man, if we can get that profit objective, man, I will be pretty happy about this trade. Tricky, man, very tricky. This bullish nonsense, very tricky. Hey, Grego, what's up? I'm so glad someone said hello to me. Is there any way to get notification? Yes, Grego. Yes, actually, that's a very good question. Just go on TradingView. Hold on, I may have to blow out of something here. On TradingView, you just right click and you see this over here. You click on this, or you can press Alt A, and it'll bring this up, right? And then you pick the Trade Scanner Pro over here. You pick the Trade Scanner Pro, and it'll let you know when a heads up appears. It'll let you know if a stop is touched. It'll also let you know when a signal pops up. So that's ideally what you should be doing on larger time frames anyway. There's no point in sitting in front of your computer, especially like if you're watching a 4-hour chart or something like that. Excuse me, 4-hour chart. You don't want to sit in front of a computer for hours. You set up a notification, and TradingView will send you either by email, by SMS, however you instruct it. It gives you choices, right? Like if you click on that, right, and you click on the notification type over here, like you have choices. You can even, tell it you can even customize the message that you want to receive from TradingView. Now, that notification usually comes in a very timely manner, usually within a second or two. Like it's pretty quick, except if you're in a country with a delayed internet. We've had that situation where people tell me, it takes 30 minutes for me to get the signal. If you have a delayed internet situation, some countries have that, then it's not so useful. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Good question. Anyway, were you able to see me take this gigantic trade? Were you able to see that, or you checked in after that? Because I took a 3.1 mini lot trade by mistake, and it worked out in my favor. That was a mistake. Now I could try to be cool. Look, the 30 seconds at the profit objective. I could be cool. Oh, I took that on purpose. It was a mistake. I meant to take one micro lot, but the number 3 was still in the thing, and I took 31 micro lots. You see me do that? All right, this thing sucks, man. Come on. Go to the profit objective. Tired of this nonsense. I'm going to cover 3 more. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of this. All right, so I covered 3 more. You can see the order pop up behind me. I have 3 left. Okay? I got 3. I'm short 3. See that? You can see it over here on my order book. So this thing should have went to the profit objective on the 1 minute. It went there on the 30-second, but I'm not managing on the 30-second. I'm managing on the 1 minute. So what's my P&L look like? 429. All right. Now remember, I started out minus 127. Okay? So just to show you, Oh, yeah, Grego. It was I took 31 micro lots by mistake short over here because I meant to short one. I said, okay, I'm going to short one and I'm going to add to it. That was the plan. Well, I shorted 31, which is 3 mini lots. You realize in a real account, I'd never be able to afford that kind of size. Right? So it was a $90,000 position. Now, if I had one micro lot, I had an opportunity to add over here. Okay. But since I had 31, I was I was getting out of it here. I got out of most of the position here. And then I carried six of them back up to here, right? I stayed in. And as you can see, I covered 3 of those here just now. And I have 3 left. So I'm trying to ride this out, but man, this thing sucks. So the trailing stop on the 30-second chart was just touched, but I'm not managing on the 30-second. I'm managing on the 1 minute. Yeah, 31 micro lots. That's 3.1 mini lots. So I was up at one point, I was up like $500. I was minus 127. I started out because I got stopped out 2 times on the long side. And no, on the short side, I'm sorry. And then I took that giant position by mistake. Okay. And it happened to work out. So as you can see here, I'm plus 365. I mean, I'm fluctuating. I still have 3 micros on. But like I was saying, if that thing went the wrong way right away, I would have blown the account, most likely. Now, one thing about that, so my P&L was at like 5 something. It may have been even higher than that at one point. My trailing stop, my loss limit on this account is based on the high point of the P&L. So if I close the trade, let's say I close the trade up $400, right? The trailing loss will move $500 worth or whatever the high point was, which is very tricky. Now they mention that on the website, but you say, well, who cares? It's important because you don't have it reduces it basically increases the chances of you blowing the account. That's what that does. So like, for example, let's say I was up $1,000 in this position, right? But I closed the position up 500. My loss limit moves $1,000. So I no longer have a $2,500 loss limit. I only have a $1,500 loss limit, even though I locked in a $500 profit, right? It counts it as $1,000. That sucks. Not all prop firms do that, but Apex does that, right? It's called an intraday trailing loss limit, intraday, rather than market close, right? So that's a tricky thing, and that's one of the reasons why they do that too, is because they want to prevent you from doing things like throwing around 10 lots and winning. Because if you do that with like 10 lots, for example, you may generate this intra position profit and then get out for a smaller profit, and you open up another position and it goes against you right away. It blows you right out because it's really easy to lose the $2,500 when you're on a giant position like that. They have this all figured out. So anyway, I like this move. Maybe we break the support now. I only have 3 micro lots on. So anyway, Grego, like I was saying, because I'm not getting anywhere with these streams in general, I'm going to stream at this time less. I'm not going to stream on Fridays anymore because there's no point. And I'm probably going to I'll stream this Wednesday, but I'm probably going to phase out Wednesdays. I got to figure it out. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll do my Monday afternoon stream and then my Wednesday trade stream like this instead of 3 streams. This because I've been doing this now for a few months. It's not helping me at all. Like it's just my no one's following me. No, it's just the growth is not there. No one signs up for my Trade Scanner Pro. Like it's just not. I'm offering a ton of value and I'm getting nothing back. Like nothing. So it's not like I'm expecting, people to be, millions of people showing up paying me money. I'm not expecting that, but I'm not even seeing growth of my YouTube channel, like nothing. So I got to do more important things with my time. Like I want to build a backlog of videos on my channel that people can watch, shorter videos, like 10-minute videos that can provide the same type of value. That would probably be beneficial to me and everyone else, because I got to benefit too. I put out tons of value. I should benefit from that, don't you think? So I'm going to be phasing this out. And like I was saying, I'm going to start increasing the size on this account because I want to get somewhere with it. Doing it in a sustainable way is okay when it's a payout account, but when it's not a payout account, you got to reach that eval goal quickly. The only way to do that is with size, and you have to have some sort of a dependable system. So I'm going to attempt to demonstrate that here. I may blow the account in the process. I don't know, but you saw a nice example of it today, even though it was a mistake. My idea for size on this account is not 31 micro lots. Okay. My idea of size would be like 3, like I was trying to do before. I start with 1, it starts moving your way, and then you add when it's moving your way. I was going to add 2. So I have a total of 3, right? 3, maybe 4 max, not 31. Okay. I saw 31. I'm like, oh man, I hope this thing goes my way, because if not, I'm going to look at $1,000 loss, like in an instant. Okay, man, see what I mean? No, look, this market stinks. This is not bearish. It's not bearish. Something that's bearish should blow this. There should be no support there. There should be no support. I mean, now maybe eventually it breaks, but this sucks. This is just like an unresponsive, slow grind type of market. And typical of holiday. Like I said, we're going into a holiday. Time is it, man? Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping this up here in a moment, because I'm not going to stick around here. Expect this type of price action it's going to get worse as the week progresses, because again, Friday is a major holiday here. So people are probably taking the whole week off. You better believe after Wednesday, this is going to be a total waste of time. So I hope you have something else better to do. Well, I think most people do, because whatever they're doing, they're not showing up to my stream. It's all about marketing. Maybe try other marketing strategies. What I am sure about is that your videos and strategy really works. And I agree with you there, Grego. I mean, I know it's marketing, and I know the thing is, these streams are time consuming, setting them up, all kinds of stuff, right? And it prevents me from doing other things. And since I'm doing this thing by myself, I don't have a team, and I don't really know of any reliable marketers and this and that, whatever. And I don't want to pay all kinds of money to whatever. I need to focus on certain things. So I need time to do that, right? So I have to manage my time effectively. And I know I put out value. I mean, I get great feedback from you. I get great feedback from a lot of people, and I have been for quite some time. So I know it's not me. Like I know it's not I know I'm not putting out fluff. And because I know myself, I know what I'm putting out. I know the value of it, because I know what I went through for a long time, and I know what would have been valuable to me back in those days. And that's what I'm putting out here, right? And you're not going to find this anywhere. So I realize that. But the problem is, the way the algorithms work, what YouTube values, and also the way I manage my other channels, right? I'm not what do you call it? Leveraging my other channels properly, like Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So, and there's a process to that, right? Like basically repurposing this content, making 10-minute videos, making shorts, putting all that. Like I know the plan, like I have the plan, but I need time to do the plan. So I want to take. I want to do is I want to take time off. I'm not giving up on streaming. I'm not giving up, but I just need to reallocate my time to build that area so I could see progress coming here. Because I can't depend on the algorithms to push my content. I need to basically angle myself properly so I could drive my own traffic, and then eventually maybe the algorithms will pick me up. So hey, UTXO, even though he's a bot, hey, I'll take some bot love. You want to give me some bot love? I'll take it. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. That could be taken out of context. Anyway, yeah, UTXO, good to see you. But no, that's what I'm saying. Like I want to use my time to do some of the right things, position my content so that it could drive more traffic to these streams, and then I'll be happy to stream 3 days a week or whatever, because at least I'll see people showing up and asking me questions. And even if people aren't paying me, I don't care. As long as I see people showing up, people asking questions, someone to talk to, that's motivational, right? It's not always about money. It's nice if people are taking my Trade Scanner Pro, but I understand. Look, it's tough, man. We're in a tough environment. Inflation has been very hard. People don't have money. I get it. People need training with the Trade Scanner Pro. I know it takes time. So I'm patient with all that. But when I see nothing or I see negative growth, it's like, all right, I got to change some stuff up here. You know what I mean? So I have to do that. So I'm sorry for you guys, because you guys have been committed. You guys, especially UTXO and Grego here. I see you guys regularly, but I have to think of me also. So I'm not being like I'm not trying to be selfish or just be like, oh, screw you guys. Like, I'm not being like that. I'm not being negative. I have to make a decision to improve my content production workflow so that this is more better use of my time, because I could be on my real account right now. I don't make money with this. I mean, it's a nice demonstration, but this is an evaluation account. I can't take payouts on this. So anyway, I'm hoping we get like a breakout here and we go to the profit objective. That would be really nice. I'd probably be up like $500 on this thing, which would be nice. I'll be happy with that. See? So, but either way, this was a great lesson in sizing this stream. Great lesson in sizing, because you saw how I managed it. You saw how, like, I wasn't gambling with it. As soon as I realized I had that position, I was like, all right, I better start getting out of this thing. But I let it go my way a bit. But once it started to hesitate, all right, taking some off, because I know what can go wrong. Now, this structure right here on the 1 minute, this is a lower high consolidation. You see that? So when this breaks, it's going to break. Like when this breaks that support, it's a lower high consolidation. That's exactly what I want to see being short, because you have these buyers that keep buying it, and they're all going to get pushed out, right? So we're maybe not while I'm in the position, but what's likely to happen is to see a retest of that low and a break of that low. We're still messing around this blue line here, which is the support that I drew earlier from the analysis. So the support is really fighting, like it's very sticky. It's trying to hold up the market or whatever. Someone's trying to hold up the market. If it breaks, you're likely to see you're likely to see some momentum. Let's put it that way. If it breaks, because remember, you have more and more people getting long, and then they get pushed out when they realize it's not working. Right? When they break that support, if it breaks. So I'm trying to hold for that outcome, but I don't know. We're not getting it. So, all right, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off some more lots here. I think I'm going to cover 2 more. Let's see. Give it a couple more minutes. But this is slow, man. Like, these consolidations, they suck. They just suck, because you have the right idea. You see the structure of the market. And I'm trying to stream here, and I'm trying to demonstrate in the stream, and the market just doesn't want to cooperate with my schedule. Because it should cooperate with my schedule. Anyway, I'm joking. So, all right, covering 2 more. You can see the order popped up behind me. So I only have 1 now. Okay, I only have 1 micro lot. See, you can see it over here. I'm short 1 micro lot. So UTXO, I took a trade by mistake. I took on 31 micro lots mistakenly. I meant to short 1, but I had the number 3 in the order thing up here, so I shorted 31, which is 3.1 mini lots. And because I had such a gigantic, of course it works now my way. Of course, they're listening to me. I went from minus 127 to up like $500, like in a blink of an eye. Since then, I've been just slowly covering the position. So now I only have one micro lot on. Maybe this micro lot, if we can go to the profit objective, that'll get me up to close to $500. But like I said, what I'm going to do with this account, like I'll stream on Wednesday most likely. But yeah, I'll stream on Wednesday. Like I said, I'm taking Friday off. It's a holiday anyway. But I'm taking Friday off for the whole summer. I'm not going to trade on Fridays anymore on this account. I'm planning to trade this account with more size. Just not 31 micro lots, but more size so that we can get to the point. Because, working on the conservative basis, okay, cool, 1 or 2 micro lots, but it's going to take me forever to reach the evaluation goal, which is okay. But when you're doing these evaluations, in reality, you want the evaluation phase to be as quick as possible. The only way is with size. You just have to be right. Okay. And the strategy behind that is, you burn through accounts until you blow through one. So you want to get the accounts when they're cheap, right? And so you don't treat remember, think of them as burn accounts. You can't take payouts on them anyway. You want to and you're going to have trades that are right. You just have to align those with the size. So it's like gambling when it comes to that part. Let's say you buy 10 evals for $33. That's $330, right? And out of those 10 evals, you're going to trade size in each one following a setup. You have to have some kind of system like I have here. You're going to be right. You see, I have positive trades all the time, right? You're going to be right. You just want to be right with size. And then once you achieve the eval, once you beat the eval, then you go to the conservative strategy. You don't continue with that size because you will blow the account. Then you go to your smaller, sustainable size. So really, the particular system for evals is really a sizing system, right? But you do have to have something that's going to give you the signals, right? Or some kind of signaling system. That's where the Trade Scanner Pro helps. Is this another signal here on the 30-second that I haven't noticed because I'm too busy talking? It's been in play for a little while here. Look at that. Another 30-second signal, short. I've just been in this 1 minute the whole time. We've had 2 30-second signals. One reached the profit objective, and this one is on its way there. Look at that. My 1 minute, look at my 1 minute trailing stop hasn't really moved very far. It's only reduced my risk by half. Where my 30-second chart, my risk has been reduced for this trade way more than that. It's almost break even. But as you can see, this market's very slow to make a decision here. Look at this. We break that support, you're going to see the profit objective reached pretty quick. All right, but I only have one micro lot on anyway, and I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not going to stick around here. Let's see how this thing closes in the next minute. Yeah, this thing sucks, man. But every time I get out, that's when it starts to go my way. Oh, look, pin bar. Is it? Okay, yeah, because it's the open of the new hour. So yeah, I'll be streaming again at 3 o'clock today, Eastern time. I'll do my analysis stream. That stream I'm going to stick with. I've been doing that one for years, even though not too many people show up for that one either. That's just my streaming schedule. Like I said, I'm not giving up on streaming. I just have to make some adjustments so that I can cultivate my streams more effectively. That's all. And plus, it's summertime anyway. It's like no one's watching me anyway during the summer. So if I'm going to do it, the summertime is probably a good time to do it. All right. So we're not getting any follow through there. I'm going to close this out. So let's go back to one contract. And we're going to get a green candle here on the 1 minute. Let's see if that turns red on the 30-second. If it turns red, I'll try to give it another candle. Pin bar. Oh, but it's not green. There it is. Okay. All right, give it a chance. Give it a chance. So you see, I'm using the candles to make those judgments. And sometimes, look, they throw me off. You've seen plenty of examples of me getting thrown off by the candles. That's just the random nature of the market. But you have to have some point of reference. All right, is this candle not going to break? Is it not going to break the formation? All right, let's see. Yeah, it's just noise. All right, I'm getting out. All right, so I'm out. As you can see the order behind me. Oh, now watch this. Watch it break now. Like, is he out? He's out. Okay, let's break this thing. So let's see my so 432 P&L. All right, that's a decent day. You saw the risk I had to take for that, right? So I'm up 54.74. That's a decent day for once, instead of being up like, $50, right? But you saw what I had to do that. And it was a mistake. It just happened to work out for me. But I still had a system. I had a sound system that gave me the right guidance. Watch this thing break. Watch. Anyway, all right, you guys. So I hope you learned something here today. I thought it was a very valuable lesson. I will be back on at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Join me then if you'd like to go through the analysis. We're going to go through Bitcoin and the whole list of regulars. All right. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And again, thank you for watching.